Hi everyone, my name is Kimberly Raikes. I am the farm manager for Whitelock Community Farm in Baltimore, Maryland, as well as a food safety educator for the Chesapeake Harvest. Here we are in West Philadelphia at the Neighborhood Foods Farm, the largest food production site at Urban Tree Connection. We are conducting a farm food safety risk assessment, looking at the challenges and advantages that can be found in urban farming. As a farm manager from Baltimore City, it is great for me to see how other urban farms handle food safety.
Hi, my name is Nat Agus, and I'm the lead farmer here and food production coordinator. This is my first season here at Urban Tree Connection Neighborhood Foods Farm. For safety protocols here at the farm, we have a few things set in place, especially during Corona. First things first, we do ask everyone who comes on the farm to sign in right here. We just like to keep a log of all of our visitors, and then so once we have that, I send it to our office manager who keeps it on our online OneDrive database. And then after that, we ask people to keep at least 6 feet distance apart with their masks on, and then with their masks off, we ask people to keep an even larger distance just to keep extra safe. In terms of hand washing, we just encourage people to do that as much as possible. We have our hands-free hand washing station here that we rigged up at the beginning of the season. To work it, you just go like this, wash your hands. This is our soap dispenser. I'm gonna not do 20 seconds for time's sake, but wash your hands. And then just with your foot, put it right back down. Paper towels are right here. And then if you also would like to double up, we also have, and our trash cans right here, we have Purell as well. Outside of that, we have our porta potty up front, which gets cleaned every week. And we ask people to use the hand washing station after using that. And then just periodically throughout the day, if people can continue to keep washing their hands, we really appreciate that as well.
Hand washing station, you've got everything there. You've got the water, the soap, the paper towels, and extra precautions with the hand sanitizer. The one thing you don't have is a way to catch the water. The reason to catch the water is because people are washing their hands and there are potentially pathogens that they're washing off with that water. So you're catching it in the bucket so that it doesn't get spread around to a larger area and it doesn't splash up onto food contact surfaces or onto produce.
So Natalie, can you tell us about your water source and exactly what this water is used for?
So for starters, we have a lot of friendly neighbors here and a lot of really awesome connections in the neighborhood. And one of those relationships that we have is with a neighbor right behind this water system here where we source all of our water from. So the water is municipal water, which means it's potable and therefore safe for usage. The water comes to this right here, and each hose represents a different part of our irrigation system. The red hose goes to our hand washing station, and the yellow hoses go to our irrigation system, which connects to our drip hoses that water all of our plants.
Well, Natalie, this is your pre-harvest and wash packing area. Can you walk us through a day prior to getting ready to harvest and to package? Can you show us exactly what it is that you would do?
Yeah, so before every harvest day, we take our bins that are dirty and that we've been using throughout the week off of the pallets that are over there, and we bring them to this area and wash them with soap and water, stack them on top of each other, and let them air dry. And then once they're like that, we know that they are clean and ready to be used on harvest day. Additionally, we clean every single fold-out table that we have underneath the pavilion here, and we clean them with soap and water and these scrubs right here. And once these are cleaned, we ensure that no staff or volunteer puts any dirty vegetables or any of their belongings on these tables, and that just makes sure that they're clean for our clean vegetables. Before every harvest day, we also clean out our sinks, which are stainless steel, and we do that also with soap and water and our scrub brushes that I showed earlier. And once these are cleaned, again, we don't allow any things that aren't outside of the vegetables to be put inside of them. During our harvest days, we have all staff and volunteers bring in their veggies from the field that they just harvested, and they bring them to either this table or the counters along the pavilion, which are designated areas for dirty produce. And then we weigh them, see how much they weigh, and then take them directly to the sinks where we wash them, and then to the tables where we then package them.
So you have a really nice wash pack set up here, and I love that you have different protocols to keep things safe and keep dirt off the crops. One thing, I have two suggestions for you. One of them is that the snips that you use when you're harvesting, this is something that I really feel like should be cleaned on a daily basis, because this is actually cutting the stem or the whatever part, usually the stem. And that creates an opportunity for pathogens to get inside and on the plant. So I would recommend that you clean these daily, the way you've been doing things, scrubbing with soap and rinsing them off, and then letting them air dry, and then storing them by hanging them. You've got a lot of different places here where you could set up hooks and hang your snips so that they air dry and they stay clean, because you also don't want them to get rusty. The other tip I have for you is that right now you've got hoses around the place, and you have to drag them along the ground, and that means that you're handling hoses that have been on the ground, and there's going to be dirt on your hands. So you could set up a system where the hoses are coming along the rafters and then over the sinks, wherever you need the hose to be, and that will prevent you from having to pick up dirty hoses from the ground. But otherwise, you guys are doing a really great job. So I know that you're using municipal water on the farm, which has to be potable, which means it's free of coliforms, free of generic E. coli. Typically, they test it for other things. So you're washing produce and you're washing equipment with potable water, which is great. If you wanted to take an extra step, particularly with the crops such as lettuce, which is particularly high risk because everyone's eating that raw, you might use sanitizer on your food contact surfaces and in your wash water. So the sanitizer is an extra step to prevent cross-contamination with human pathogens. There's a few different kinds you can use. It's not required that you use sanitizer, and if you feel like your washing process is sufficient to keep things safe, then that's perfectly fine. But if you wanted to, for instance, use it on the snips or use it on salad greens, you can buy different kinds of sanitizer. Sanidate is one that's approved for organic use, and you mix it, you make a solution with water, and you can either put it in a spray bottle to spray down food contact surfaces, or you can put it directly in the wash water. And Sanidate is something you don't need to rinse off. It's peroxyacetic acid. It's a naturally occurring acid.
Natalie, can you give us some information about this beautiful building behind us? What is stored here?
This building was painted by a local artist a couple years ago. This is a space that we store a lot of our vegetables in, as well as our apothecary teas. We also save our seeds within here. The building is made out of cement, and it keeps the inside very, very cool, kind of like a root cellar. We also have an air ventilation system that keeps the air running through it. And it keeps all of our vegetables like zucchini, tomatoes, cucumbers at the perfect temperature in order to stay as fresh as possible for as long as possible.
I noticed you have a sign on the outside of the door specifying who can come inside and who can't.
Yeah, you'll see that all around the farm. There's just certain areas that, especially with Corona happening, we try to keep only staff personnel inside, and then also keep as little amount of people inside as possible, since they're smaller areas. And just to keep track of everything that's going on inside of these buildings, it's nice to have kind of rules and regulations surrounding who can enter and who can't.
So Natalie, if you could give us a little bit of information in regards to the cleaning schedule and who generally does that procedure?
Yeah, so we divide those tasks among the small team of staff that we have here on the farm. The things that we do involve monthly cleanings, sweeping out the floor and cleaning the shelves that we have inside, and then also ensuring that no vegetable bins ever touch the floor. So we have things like shelves, tables, and just like other yellow bins that we have to keep everything elevated from touching the floor. This here is our walk-in fridge, and it's where we store all of our vegetables outside of our tomatoes, cucumbers, and zucchinis. And to keep everything safe and sanitary, we ensure that all the vegetables are stored above the ground level. We do that with boxes and shelves. We like to keep the temperature at about 40 degrees Fahrenheit, and we can check that out right here on our temperature gauge. To keep the fridge clean, we sweep as frequently as possible, keep the veggies elevated, and do a deep clean every month with a bleach solution.
We like to be very clear in food safety that there's a difference between cleaning and sanitizing. You don't want to clean surfaces with your sanitizer. That's not what it's for. So you always start by either brushing off, spraying off the organic debris that may be on a surface. Then you want to scrub it with soap and rinse off that soapy, dirty water. And then you spray on the sanitizer and leave that for however long the label on the sanitizer tells you it needs to stay on that surface. Oftentimes it's for 1 or 2 minutes to make sure that all of the pathogens are reduced sufficiently.
Welcome to our tool shed. Here we like to keep things as neat and tidy as possible. We have an area up here to hang all of our cultivating tools, and then on this side we've got things like our hand trowels, gas, different various tools for fixing up the farm, and a couple other miscellaneous things. Before bringing our tools back to the shed, we like to sanitize them. We do this for both plant pathogens as well as human pathogens. And as you can see from this sheet right here that we can reference, we take our tools back to the shed, spray them entirely, wipe them down, and then place them back into the shed. As for gloves, we only let people wear clean gloves. So inside of this bag we have all of our pre-washed gloves, and then at the end of the day when people are done using them, they are put into this bucket right here where we then wash about once a month.
Natalie, if I may make a suggestion, I noticed that you have gas cans above your hand tools that are used in the garden. We like to keep chemicals separate, so if you could remove those from over the tools and move them to your far side where your other chemicals are, that would be great. And the reason being is as we get into winter, plastic has a tendency to crack. If that cracks and falls on your hand tools, then those tools that were clean are now contaminated.
Cool, thank you.
Noel, give me a little information about the relationship that is happening here with the farm as well as the community. Any risks or things that come up that are important for us to know about your farm and how the community works together?
Yeah, so I think the most important thing is that there's an understanding around the purpose of the farm, who the farm is for, and to make sure that, you know, we have strong relationships with the neighbors. So as I mentioned earlier, the farm was founded by Black captains here, and we've garnered community support over the year in order to acquire the land. But, you know, neighborhoods are changing all the time, people move in and out, and so it's always important for us to make sure that we're engaging the neighbors, that they know that the food that we grow here is for the community, and that, you know, we're here for a limited amount of time as staff members, and so when we're not here, it's really the community that keeps an eye out on the farm to make sure that everything is okay. You know, we have fencing here and a locked gate, but that can easily, like if somebody wanted to get on the farm, they really could. And we've had small issues here and there around vandalism, but nothing major because we really have a lot of eyes on the farm from the neighbors who are invested in this project with us.